1812 was all wrong. Most people, even Americans, don't even know what was it, War of 1812. 1812, that's not too long after 1776, people. So very quickly, and they tried down south, Louisiana, they tried once again coming up to the south to take control of America. Well, they lost. Okay, well, so they're done. No, most people don't realize King Charles literally said that on tape. Bill Gates, George Soros, Elon Musk, and Yuval Noah Harari. These guys are right now building that infrastructure. You go in, the laser goes, oops, zip, walk back out. That's how fast they're going to pop that chip into your brain.
If you get disconnected from the system, your own body parts will no longer function.
That's a direct quote. I got it on tape too.
Pastor Billy Crump, you did it again.
Hi, Di. Good to see
I'm
you.
like, okay, what else can he come up with? But the research on all of your series are incredible, but you have mind-blowing information regarding King Charles, Elon Musk, that most people have no idea about building the Antichrist system.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, what made you even look into all of that?
Well, part of it started with our previous 4 documentaries. I did 4 documentaries basically on all things Klaus Schwab, the World Economic Forum, and the Club of Rome, and the plan for the planet, that the Bible alone tells us exactly what it is. They can call it the Great Reset. They can call it the Fourth Industrial Revolution. It's simply the Antichrist kingdom that the Bible warned about 2,000 years ago is going to come in the 7-year tribulation, because they all want the same thing. Boil it down, they want a one world government, a one world religion, a cashless society that specifically biometrically ties people into this universal payment buying and selling system, and it goes even deeper than that. And so call it what you will by your labels, it's the Antichrist kingdom. So that I began to go down, and we did again 4 documentaries on that 4. But as I'm going through those documentaries, Janie, I started running across other figures that were going and working together with the World Economic Forum and the Klaus Schwabs of the day and these other folks, and that was these global elites. And so I began to realize that he's also incorporated the help of these billionaire elites who not only have the most money on the planet, by and large, they have some of the top power on the planet. And I began to start, as I come across it, as I'm focused on these other 4 documentaries, I just go, well, I'll create a folder and start putting that away. Maybe that'll come in handy down the road. And so basically when I finished all 4 documentaries, I had this giant pile of information of going, wait a second, we got to talk about these guys who are helping to advance that global
Through the treasury, Diane. He's looking more and more, wow.
Christ agenda. And that's what came out in our study, Global Elites and the Antichrist. And was
he still chases $1. That's pretty bad.
Too big for one, so we had to produce 2 different volumes, book and DVD set. But basically, there's 6 sections to it. Volume 1, Volume 2, books and DVDs. And the first one is a deep dive, the deepest dive I've ever done on this biblical figure called the Antichrist. And that's a hot topic today. Certainly, now the latest candidate is everybody saying Donald Trump's the Antichrist and all things of that nature. But then it's global elites and the Antichrist. So I began to deal with these global elites who are helping to basically build the infrastructure for the Antichrist so that when he appears on the scene, he's ready to go, hit the ground running. And so the 5 figures that I deal with, of course, is Bill Gates, George Soros, King Charles, Elon Musk, and Yuval Noah Harari.
Absolutely. Now, there's some things we're not going to be talking about just because of censorship. But I wanted to start with King Charles. So can you explain some things about King Charles that most people don't know about?
Most people don't realize that this guy, King Charles, is the one who actually launched the Great Reset. He was the one who made the first announcement, not Klaus Schwab. So he's called the King of the Great Reset, but he's also called the King of the New World Order, and for good reasons. Because when you take a look at what he believes, what he espouses, all the agendas that he promotes, climate change and all that stuff. They use that as an excuse to get us all to work together on the planet to submit to new global authoritarian control in order to, quote, save the planet. He's all part of that camp. He's also a depopulationist, believing that there's too many people on the planet, which we have a whole giant section demonstrating that overpopulation is a lie. It's a lie. I've been over to Scotland teaching over there many times, and one time I had a day to go be a tourist, and I got to go to Loch Ness, right? Got to go see Loch Ness. And so I'm taking a little tour of this little museum that they have there, and right out of the gates, they share some statistics about Loch Ness, and then later I tried to get a video, but they didn't offer a video of the tour of what they said. So I went online, and in a Scottish newspaper, I still have it on file. You know what they said? They said the volume of Loch Ness, which is one of 30,000 lochs or lakes in Scotland, which is a small country, by the way. They said just the volume in Loch Ness is so huge, so deep, so long, that the whole planet could fit in Loch Ness 10 times over. Now, wait a second. If I can get the whole planet 10 times over in one lake in Scotland, then we're not overpopulated. But this is what they do, and this is why they want to depopulate. But here's my point. King Charles is a part of that agenda. He also wants to bring in about a new government, a new world order. So it buddies with the World Economic Forum, the same agenda, the same thing. Now, here's what's really illusory about King Charles is a lot of people think, well, so what? Who is this guy? He was prince. His mom died. He becomes the king. Whip-de-doo. They're a monarchy. They have no power. They're just all voice. They have no power. That's not true. King Charles is in charge of what's called the Commonwealth of England. The Commonwealth of England is, I believe, 56 different countries around the planet. And we're talking some big countries, not just with Europe there. We're talking Canada. We're talking Australia, New Zealand. Again, I was just there recently, and things of that nature. India and things of that nature. A big chunk of the planet is under his control and authority. So he's a very important piece of producing and promoting and eventually turning the lever on this great reset. He has a lot of power over the planet, and that's what people need to wake up and realize.
Well, I found it interesting when I was looking at your materials. You talked about lots of people believe that after the Revolutionary War that England just went away.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not going to bother you anymore. Can you explain that?
Yeah, it's again, it's a smokescreen. These guys are, if anything, they're masterminds of, and I'll say it, evil. And a lot of people think, oh, hey, in 1770.
Diane, floods and fires. This whole year's been full of floods and fires.
26, we won our independence from who? From Britain, the most powerful nation at that time.
I saw a bit of the peace deal with Palestine that Trump's doing. Netanyahu's not on board.
On the planet. In fact, what was the phrase? The sun doesn't set on the British Empire. So they were globalists. Guess what? They still are to this day. And even when it comes to our own country, America, they've never stopped after the Revolutionary War to get control back again of the states that they lost, right? Originally the 13 colonies, and then, of course, we expanded. But that's what the War of 1812 was all about. Most people, even Americans, don't even know what was it, War of 1812. 1812, that's not too long after 1776, people. So very quickly, they rallied their forces, and they tried down south, Louisiana, they tried once again coming up through the south to take control of America. Well, they lost, okay? Well, so they're done. No, most people don't realize they were the ones who were foaming the American Civil War in the south to try to get us to basically implode. So guess what? They can come in and take control. You're thinking, well, they're done. Oh, no, that was in 1860s. So a few more decades later, what they do? That's when they come in with the secret meetings and they launch the takeover of America, which we know is the Federal Reserve. And basically, if you do the research, it's a group of bankers came in.
I saw that. He got 48 months. I've done that in one stretch, Di.
And if you can't take
And after about 18 months, it feels like you've never been on the streets. Your memories fade.
America over military, then you can take over America economically. And that's what they did with the Federal Reserve.
He won't be treated well in their day. He wasn't nice to women, and they don't like that.
These people are an entity unto themselves. This is what you're hearing in the news now about the Federal Reserve and things of that nature. But they're made up of bankers, not Americans, bankers who are dictating the economy of America. They can cause a depression, they can cause a recession, they can bring it up, bring it down, and they do that for manipulative power control purposes. So they finally, in my opinion, pulled it off. They finally got control back of America. They just came in a different tack economically, and we're still dealing with this today.
Yeah, and it's interesting how they call it federal. So it's like, oh, see, it's just part of the United
It's
States.
its own entity.
Diane, if they're anything like the Australian system, they'll separate him from the rest of the inmates, because Diddy's got too much money. He looks like he'll have a go in a fight, so they'll put him in a place where not protection, but sort of half pie. He's got a rough 4 years coming up, though.
Right.
Yeah.
But so many people were tricked. Now, you also had talked about he had said, King Charles said, we need trillions at his disposal. Of course, he had said that when
On tape.
Prince Charles.
We need a vast military-style campaign to marshal the strength of the global private sector, with trillions at his disposal.
Right, but that's the other thing, is that all your research, everything that you have them saying, you actually have
With trillions at his disposal.
videos of them saying these crazy, wild things, which we're going to go into some interesting things about Elon Musk in a second, but I want to go still with King Charles. So yeah, explain that.
Yeah, and again, that's what we do. That's our modus operandi, because you're dealing with some pretty wild topics here, right? You're talking about not just the Antichrist kingdom, which again, shouldn't be a surprise if you read the Bible, right? But most people are like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. And they've been trained to think that way, so you won't listen to the information that's being shared with you for your own good. But this is why we work very hard, very meticulously, not only with the books, and we document everything, pages and pages of notes. Go look it up yourself. We're not a bunch of wackos. Legitimate sources. But that's the power of not just the books, but getting the DVD set. You will see, of course, it's translated for the book, transcribed, but the DVDs, you will see these people saying these things out of their own mouth. And so that's what we do with the videos is, again, you think I'm making this up? No, click. Here's King Charles saying that. What's that? Did they really say that they're going to put brain chips in everybody? Yeah, click. Here's Klaus Schwab saying that at the World Economic Forum with Sergey Brin, the co-founder of Google. And he admits it right there on tape. I didn't say it, he did. And on and on and on it goes.
Okay, so now back to we need trillions at his disposal. What did he mean by that?
Yeah, he's speaking at, again, a climate change meeting and a couple of years back. And he basically, out of his mouth, and it caused a sensation, but nobody's talking about it anymore, unfortunately, because you move on to the next news cycle. And that's another, again, part of the plan. Squirrel, look over here. They're masters of, okay, no, don't focus on this over here. Hey, man, football's about ready to start, so you need to be focused on that. So anyway, but he literally
I think that was Obama and his home chef.
said that the plan of the elites is there's a guy, that they plan to give trillions, not millions, not billions, trillions of dollars at his disposal, including like a military type force to implement this new regime on the planet. It's on tape. And so to me, that's why King Charles, he's, again, one of these rulers who are helping to prepare the infrastructure for this guy the Bible calls the Antichrist, who's going to rule the planet in the 7-year tribulation under the guise of peace, but he shows his true colors very quickly, and it leads to the worst time in the history of mankind.
Wow.
King Charles literally said that on tape, that these guys are right now, as you and I are having this interview, building that infrastructure for the guy, and I'm telling you, if all he didn't say was Antichrist, but that's basically what he said.
Right, right. And then when he said those words, military footing, I mean, it was, my hair stood on end.
Yes.
So yeah,
Okay.
definitely very, yeah. Now,
Wow.
anything else you want to say about King Charles before we go on?
Well, there's another thing that was weird. I included it, but he now is getting pro-Muslim. He literally says that, and he boasts about it, that now he's traced his roots and now he comes from a Muslim background. And again, not saying thus saith the Lord, but you look at the Muslim community, and one of the things that they're big on with the infidels, the people who don't do and believe what they say to believe, is they and then what's interesting is the Bible says in the 7 year tribulation, those who refuse to obey the Antichrist, one of the forms of punishment is capital punishment with your.
Without having decent internet connection, you don't have business these days. Vancouver is part myth, part story, and 100% icon.
I think being an Australian-based internet provider has a really great benefit for our customers because we're able to provide technical support that's based within Australia, and it leaves them feeling confident that their solution is going to be resolved within a quick time frame.
The process of working with Aussie Broadband, it brings a smile on my face because the process couldn't have been smoother. And I know if there is a problem, I can make a phone call. I'm going to give you help, so I don't have a worry.
Surprise, baby. Surprise, baby.
At Hammond Care, we've been caring for people for more than 90 years. So if you need home care, dementia care, palliative care, call Hammond Care.
Dearborn, that's in Illinois, isn't it, Diane?
And so again, he's backing that community that is bringing that form of punishment back if you don't obey what they say that you need to do or believe. And that's
Okay, do you know Jesus Rodriguez, the musician? He comes from Illinois. Very good music. He died recently.
what the Antichrist is going to do.
Very interesting, the connection with that. Now, you said Elon Musk is the technology elite.
Yeah.
And you're going to be talking, I wanted you to talk about the 11 parallels between the Great Reset agenda
He actually sings about Dearborn. That's why I brought it up.
and what Elon Musk is doing with his business ventures, but all building the Antichrist system. And there's something I want to bring up too that's very alarming, but I'll do that in a moment. But yeah, talk about Elon.
Yeah, Elon, again, I started stumbling across him. He'd pop in with some of the research I claimed with Klaus Schwab and pop back out again. Then all of a sudden I saw, wait a second, he's coming in this angle too, and it's the same thing with the Great Reset and this. And anyway, so when I stopped cataloging, Janie, I came across 11, not one, not two, not five, 11 direct parallels of the Great Reset agenda, which again, the Bible calls the Antichrist kingdom. 11 parallels of the Great Reset agenda that Elon Musk is involved in directly and helping to advance on the planet. There's no way that's by chance. And the challenge initially in even bringing this up is before Elon and Trump had the fallout, you say anything negative about Elon, he was like the golden boy. He was the technological wizard. He's here to help us. He's here to bring freedom. No, he's not, folks. I say all the time, even during that time, and I got a lot of flack for bringing this up. And they were saying, how dare you talk bad about Elon? He's on our side. He's for freedom. Listen, I will give you, I'll call it for what it is. The DOGE program, as far as investigating government waste, exposing that, putting a stop to that, hey, I'll give you kudos all day long for that. That's what I call is going on the front porch. My question to people is this. Okay, I'll give you that. I'm not disagreeing. I'm not saying that's not a good thing. I wish they would have done it decades ago. Here's what we need to talk about. That's on the front porch. Can we talk about all the stuff buried in the backyard? That's the stuff we need to talk about.
Such as?
So don't take the one good thing that he was involved in and then turn a blind eye to all the things that he is helping to build the Antichrist kingdom. And that can be anything. Again, we catalog 11 different things, show the proof, It's been going on for quite some time. His relationship with this agenda, with the robots, the solar energy, the 15-minute cities, the little cardboard box you get to basically live in,
No way,
all
it's
that
full
stuff,
of moss.
electric vehicles, every single one of these, James, is a part of the Great Reset agenda. This is nothing new.
Diane, do you know Jesus Rodriguez, one of his biggest hits? He only had a few hits. One was Sugar Man.
And then you get into the Neuralink with the brain chips, which again, Klaus Schwab said everybody's going to get. Did you get to vote on that? I didn't get to vote on that. What are you doing? He's also building not only Neuralink, but Starlink, which will be the matrix that they use to control the planet with the buying and selling and the microchip technology and everything, including people. Musk is building that. Neuralink, it's all going to link together. This is the Great Reset agenda. And then you go on to a universal basic income and things of that nature. And just on and on it goes. We categorized 11, that's just off the top of my head. But there's no way that's by chance. And I'll just say this. I can't necessarily prove this, but I think that he has advanced knowledge of these things because he knows the agenda. We're just learning it since the pandemic, right? It's starting to come out. And but here's my point. If you had advanced, I'll just give you one example. If you had advanced knowledge that one day, let's say 10 years ago, you had advanced knowledge that one day the planet, the whole planet, not a country, the planet was going to be forced to get rid of combustible engines and go to electric vehicles, and you had insider knowledge that was going to happen, what would you do? You would invest every nickel and dime you had. And if you recall his rise to fame with the electric car, the Tesla,
I bet you'd remember if you heard it, Di.
which, by the way, he's now doing robo taxis, robo cars, all kinds of other stuff too. That's just the beginning. But I think he had advanced knowledge because of the plan of the Great Reset. And so he decides, I'm going to get in this early because it's a common sense issue. Whoever builds the biggest, baddest, most reliable electric car company, when the hammer comes down and people are being forced to do it, he's going to make money. He's going to make bank. And that's what's happened. But every venture he's been involved in has been exactly that. Why would you invest so much into solar? Because people are going to be forced to go that way according to the Great Reset agenda. Why would you invest so heavily in not just robot vehicles, basically, but robots themselves? He's saying everybody on the planet is going to get one of his Tesla robots. Why? Because that's a part of the Great Reset and the control factor of the 15-minute cities. Why are you so big on now what's called Tesla homes? Basically, a box that you could buy for $15,000.
Everything Tesla makes, it's aesthetically ugly. Like his stupid looking cars and this caravan he's got. His stuff's ugly looking.
And that somehow is going to help save the planet because everybody's going to live in a box in the 15-minute city and things of that nature. So he knows the plan. So he's investing in every phase of the plan because at the end of the day, he will be ahead of everybody. He's going to make so much money, it's not even funny. And that's what we're seeing he's doing. He is not, let me give you, I didn't mention Twitter, which is now X. Oh, people got duped on that one. This is easy to demonstrate. He bought Twitter, now X, and everybody goes, see, that's proof that he's here for freedom of speech. He's still censoring speech. He is censoring speech right now on X, folks. Go do the research, number one. Number two, he had several billion people on the planet to pick from to hire as the new CEO of Twitter, now X. And who did he hire? Linda Yaccarino. She is one of the bigwigs of where? The World Economic Forum. Really? That's the only person you could find. And she recently resigned.
Right.
But my point is, who did he hire to take over? Somebody from the World Economic Forum. None of it's by chance. Folks, we got fooled. We got duped. And then I don't even have time to go into his background spiritually. Oh, some of the darkest, creepiest stuff. Him and his family, folks, do the research. This is not good.
I like this guy. He's very passionate.
Well, it was interesting because when I was, looking at your information regarding Elon Musk and looking about, as far as the robots, and I've talked about the robots before,
Yeah, his cars are pretty ugly, aren't they?
but the newest thing that I had heard is that Elon was asked if a human brain consciousness would be able to be downloaded into his Optimus robot. And he said yes.
Could you imagine that one day we would be able to download our human brain capacity into a Optimus?
Yes. I think that is, I'm not saying this is, I think it is possible, I think, to do that. It is possible.
Which would be a different way of eternal life, because we would also download our personalities into a body.
Yes.
So they're planning on like taking people's brains or conscious, however, and putting it into a robot. I mean, now I was talking to my son about that, and he was like saying, well, there was this movie. I'm not really up on movies, but he was saying there was this movie years ago, RoboCop.
Yeah.
And but yeah, and it's like, and we know, and you've said it in your materials, how Hollywood is predictive programming. Hollywood will always tell you what they want to do, and that's what they want to do. But he himself, I heard him say it, that yeah, they'll be able to put that in there. I'm like, this is crazy.
Well, and one of the ways they'll be able to do that, when they put a Neuralink chip in your brain. A Neuralink chip, and he's not the only brain chip company, but he's on the forefront because, again, he's ahead of the game. Because why? Because that's the agenda. On tape, Klaus Schwab said to Sergey Brin, the co-founder of Google, the other one's Larry Page, we'll all get brain chips, and they'll be able to instantly know how they're reacting in real time to what they're talking about on stage. That's on tape. So if you know everybody's going to get brain chips, then what would you do? You build the biggest, baddest brain chip installment company. In fact, Musk has gone on tape to saying that the goal is with these Neuralink is that it will be as quick and painless as a LASIK eye procedure, where you go in now, it's an outpatient thing. You go in, the laser goes zip, zip, with your eye, you walk back out. He says that's how fast they're going to be able to pop a chip into your brain. We're even starting this because this is a deep dive, and we take a deep dive on this. But he's on tape admitting that there's bigger goals in mind here with Neuralink. I got it on tape. Than just, if people can't walk, they'll be able to walk again. If people can't see, they'll be able to see again. He literally is talking about merging man's brain with AI, kind of what you're talking about here. And the Neuralink chip will give them that access to your very thought life that can be monitored, that can be recorded, that can be uploaded. Listen, that can also be downloading information into your brain. And listen to this. This is on tape. The plan is to delete people's thoughts. Now, listen to how they're pitching that. You're thinking, who would want to do that? That's a total invasion of privacy like we can't even dream of. You're right. But they say that's going to be a benefit twofold from soldiers and people, law enforcement who suffer from PTSD. They'll go in, delete that thought that's you can't stop thinking about, that's freaking you out, or depression. You want to get rid of that depression? We'll delete all your depressing thoughts. That's how they're pitching it, to give access to your brain, not just to monitor, not just record, not just upload, but to delete and insert something that was there. You wouldn't even know if that's your thought or not. I actually got another researcher, I'm not joking, on tape, and he admits that he predicts that some of this, because they'll be able to put into your brain, not just monitor your brain, things that weren't there before. One, it could be, and this is what he said, he envisions it like a subscription service. Like, let's say, you talk about Hollywood, this goes back to the Matrix movie, the first one, and you want to learn a skill, like I want to learn French cooking. Okay, for $5.99, you can download into your brain everything about French cooking. Like that, right? Like the Matrix movie from years back. The guy gets jacked up in the back of the head. Next thing you know, after a couple minutes, what he wakes up and goes, I know Kung Fu, right? That's not science fiction. That's that reality. Then he goes even further. He says, and then here's another subscription service. They will be able to send dreams into your brain while you're sleeping. And of course, it's a paid service. So if you want to dream this dream, and then you pay this month, it's kind of like you're scrolling through Netflix and like, okay, oh yeah, I want to dream that tonight. And I'm sitting there going like, and this is on tape. And I'm sitting there going like, what are you going to call that? Dreamflix or something? But this is what. But here's the other thing. The downloading is there, the monitoring is there, but it's also what's called the upload. And they believe, you'll never guess the year, they believe by 2025, that's this year, that they will adequately be able to upload the contents of a person's brain, the bits and bytes of that information, and re-download that into a neural computer, back to where we started this discussion, into an AI robot, or they believe this is how they're going to cheat death, the elites, that before they die, they're going to upload the contents of the brain and put it into a new body, right, that will take over that body's brain, but it'll be them. And you could go to Hollywood and you can see shows that are already getting that into people's minds, that this technology is coming. That's just a teensy bit of what we cover, exposing one of the 11, that's just one, Janie, of 11 things that Musk is up to. You can't tell me he's on our side. He's up to some nefarious things, and you don't get it until you read the Bible and go like, wait a second, that's part of the things that the Antichrist is going to do in the 7-year tribulation.
Yeah, and I've heard you when you're preaching, talking about the book of Revelation has a blessing for those who read it and who want to understand it. And, because some people go, we shouldn't be talking about this stuff. We should be talking about it.
Yeah.
And, I caught some of your sermon and I was like, oh, that's really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. There is a blessing with it. And the Lord wants us to know the future. That's where I got that from you.
Yeah.
So
we're not caught off guard. And not because we're going to be in the 7-year tribulation, but we see how horrible it is. So we develop a heart of compassion to warn those who are in danger of being there, i.e. the people who are not saved, so we can encourage them to get saved now. That's why God tells us so much of this horrible time frame, okay, is so that we can use that as motivation to get out there and share the gospel.
Absolutely. Now, can you go in? Now, it's interesting because all the different people that you talk about, all these different elites, everything that they're doing, it really all comes together. Yeah. What about Yuval Noah Harari?
Yuval Noah Harari is basically a New Ager, a homosexual. He's a Jewish guy. He married another guy, but he's in total rebellion of God. Total rebellion of God.
Right, and he's not practicing Judaism. He's practicing meditation, Hinduism.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I say he's a New Ager, because he admits on tape, and we have it on tape, that where he gets his inspiration for these new ideas that he's sharing across the new Homo sapiens that's coming to the planet, whether we want it or not, via the elites, that he's getting his inspiration from for these books that he's writing and going around lecturing. And partnering up with the World Economic Forum. He's a very popular speaker. A lot of people like Obama and others think this guy's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Go figure. But he admits that it's through meditation. And he gets into an altered state of consciousness. And this is where he's inspired what he's teaching. Well, that's demonic, man. That's New Age. When you get into an altered state of consciousness, you're communicating with demons. Been there, done that. Wish I wouldn't bought the t-shirt. So this guy's demonic. He's in rebellion to God, God's order, including male and female. So he's ushering in basically the days of Lot, but the days of Noah. And the days of Noah, basically you read that. And by the way, Jesus said both of those are going to come back on the scene before he comes back. The days of Lot and the days of Noah. And in Noah, there was something weird going on. There was a hybridization of mankind. That mankind was being turned into a non-human. The Bible calls it Nephil or Nephilim. Jesus said that's going to return again, as well as the days of Lot, the Sodom and Gomorrah stuff. That's everywhere. But Even the days of Noah is going to return, where mankind is going to be turned into a non-human. That's what Yuval Noah Harari is all about this new Homo sapiens that's coming on the planet that could be genetically a completely genetic different human, a completely different human that's merged like a cyborg, which by the way, Musk says all the time, we're becoming cyborgs, but you're half human, half machine, or you're half human, half animal, a chimeric point of view. But he's saying that's what's coming. In fact, I got him on tape at the World Economic Forum, Yuval Noah Harari. He's saying that he believes we are, you and I, Janie, right now, we are the last generation of true Homo sapiens on the planet.
Next level dog people give their dogs next level protection with NexGuard Spectra. It's the most complete protection against fleas, ticks, mites, worms, and even heartworm, all in one tasty monthly chew. Next level protection with NexGuard Spectra.
We asked ChatGPT about SiteGround, and this is what it had to say. Good, better, SiteGround.
Take a look. This lady is already 58 years old.
Oh, that finished. Oh, no, had a bit to go.
Planet. What's that? That's the same sin that caused God to judge the planet the first time in the days of Noah. He's going around promoting that. Now, they don't go and say, hey, we're here to promote the days of Noah. That's too obvious. The term they use is called transhumanism. And transhumanism, and he's a transhumanist, is they believe that we need to transcend the limitations of humanity with science and technology, including genetic modification or a genetic merging of man and animal and machine into a new and improved humanity. Now, give some people some homework. This is not a conspiracy theory. We demonstrate this. It's all on tape. Go search out the terms human 2.0, augmented humanity, post-human species, neo-humanity. I just gave you 4 of the terms they use of this non-human race that they're creating against people's will across the planet, as you and I sit here. They're doing it whether we want it or not, and because why? They're the what? The elites. And don't you understand, Janie? You and I are dum-dums. We don't have the knowledge that they have. We're not as rich and powerful as these people are. They're altering humanity for our own good. After all, they're the elites. For us peasants, we should be joyful that we will be given these new human traits. By the way, they say that after 90% of the population is decimated, that the remaining 10%, we get to be genetically modified so we can better serve them. That don't sound like utopia to me.
Right. And some of them have called us useless eaters. And oh my goodness, yeah. And there was something that you said in your materials that I was like, oh my gosh, this is unbelievably creepy. It's where Yuval said, when people are connected into this inner matrix, if you get disconnected from the system, your own body parts will no longer function.
That's a direct quote. I got it on tape too. It's not even a quote. I have it on tape. You see that, and it sends chills up your spine. And basically, I'm glad you brought that up because there's 2 pieces of this Big Brother Revelation 13 scenario that they want to bring to the planet. And Harari is right there, man, promoting it. It's 2 terms. And I'll give your audience a couple more buzzwords to go look up. IoT, which stands for Internet of Things, and IOB, as in boy, Internet of Bodies. This is the external and internal monitoring system that they're building. It's a giant prison planet from which you cannot escape. And the IoT is the Internet of Things, which is everything on the planet, and this is on tape, will have a microchip. It could be a light post, it could be a car, your phone, your pet, you as a person, your appliances, everything, every street light, everything is a microchip. And that will tie everything together in this seamless system that can be externally monitored everywhere you go at any time, all things, all people, all products, all transactions, all at the same time. That's not coming, they're already building that. Now, backtrack to Elon Musk. That's the importance of Starlink, because if you're going to monitor in this IoT Internet of Things matrix that monitors everything externally with microchip technology, you have to have a global matrix that will be able to tie into that system. That's called Starlink. For the first time in man's history, Starlink, per their words, the whole planet will be enveloped by this matrix from the top of the Himalayan mountains to a desert in the middle of nowhere. But that's just half the equation. The other part, leading up to your statement from Harari, they don't want just, Janie, microchips on everything outside of us. They want them on the inside of us. And that microchip technology will allow them to monitor not just our outsides, the insides, hence Internet of Things outside, Internet of Bodies on the inside. And that microchip technology will allow them to monitor your body parts, monitor your body functions, dispense technology like nanobots, dispense medicines, alter your DNA on the fly, but it will tie you into a system. And that's where Harari is saying that he can envision a time where if you got microchips outside, but you now have them on the inside that's controlling, monitoring your body. Back to a brain chip even, okay? But he envisions that you'll become so dependent upon that for your existence on the inside that if the net goes off or you got disconnected from the net, dare I say Starlink, your body will shut down. You will die. It's on tape. Now you talk about...
Okay, they already do that with pacemakers, so this isn't a huge shock.
A prison planet. No wonder. I think that's why Jesus said, because obviously he knows all things, this is the worst time in the history of mankind, so horrible, that if God didn't shorten the time frame, i.e. keep it to just 7 years, the entire human race would be destroyed.
Hey, Shawnee,
That's
good to
what we're
see
here
you.
for. That's what all these guys are helping to build. They're not on our side. They're not our friends. They're helping to build the infrastructure for what God warned about 2,000 years ago, the Antichrist kingdom.
Yeah, well, you talked about Bill Gates, and I'm just going to mention this. I mean, I'm not going to talk about that, but just that having a monopoly over the food supply. I mean, that's really scary.
Yeah, you missed Diane asking me to let Paul sing. I knocked her back, of course.
And like buying,
I'm just joking, Di. You know that.
Like buying all of this land and
in America and the Netherlands. Why? Who's the number one food exporter in the world? America. Who's number two? The Netherlands.
Oh.
Yep. There's two things that drive him. Make money, people. We bring that out in great detail. That study just on Bill Gates could have been a standalone study of itself. It's huge. That's really what pushed this documentary into volume 1 and volume 2, because there's so much that we deal with and uncover with that gentleman. I use that loosely, Bill Gates.
Right. And then, I mean, there's always like things that sound like they're good, like, putting a peel on organic fruit and vegetables. Okay, I eat a lot of organic fruit and vegetables, and then I'm like, really? He's behind that too? Which then I...
Doesn't 80% of the medical compounds come from China?
Found out, I mean, I saw that in your materials.
Yeah,
but,
and what does Apeel have on it? Apeel has cadmium, arsenic, mercury. Last time I checked, that's not good for you.
Yeah, so I went to my favorite stores. I'm not going to mention them, but I was like, and then I started researching, and some of the well-known stores where, hey, you can get all your organic stuff from, they're putting that Apeel stuff on it. I'm like, oh, great.
Which is covering your fruit and veggies with toxic substances.
So of course, like people, to them, it's like so many people were just useless. And then I didn't realize that he was also pushing for the universal ID.
Yeah. You know why? Because that universal ID is not only going to track just your ID, it will track your status. And so if you don't have the proper which of course he owns, so he'll make money, right? Then you're going to be shut out of countries. You will not be able to travel. And then I think they'll even go further. You may not even buy and sell because it's all going to be tied together. But wait a second. Guess who's, because you got to run that universal ID on some sort of software. Well, guess whose software is going to be used to run the universal ID? Microsoft. They're partnering with ID 2020. It's on tape. It's in print. Check it out. And so now you have a universal software across the whole planet. You know how much money he's going to make? Again, make money, people. Look at everything he's doing. It explains it all.
Okay, now, before you go, can you just explain a little bit? I mean, I know everyone has heard of George Soros, but just, you call him the disruptor elite. Can you just explain a little bit?
Yeah, George Soros, believe it or not, is a traitor to his people. He's a Jewish guy. He changed his name. Used to be Schwartz.
Wow.
Soros. But basically,
I never knew he was Jewish.
Admitted on tape that when he grew up, his family not only lied about their Jewish roots to save their hide, but he worked as the teenagers with the Nazis to confiscate Jewish possessions.
No way!
Money, and he was challenged. It's an archival tape. It must have been from the 70s, and he admitted he was challenged. Doesn't that bother you? He says, no, doesn't bother me at all. And this guy is, and what he does is how he's made his money is on the back of suffering, because he doesn't care. And then what he does is he takes his money and he begins to again push this Antichrist agenda. But what he does is he's a disruptor elite.
Harari sounds like an islander name, a name from Hawaii or something.
And he goes into countries, not just America, but there's many countries which we expose. He's banned from because he goes in and disrupts the.
I've got Jew in me. My mother's grandmother was Jewish, and under Hitler's laws, that made me Jewish. I'm not unhappy about that.
Countries, you're like, well, why would you want to do that? Well, this is his modus of operandi, how he makes his billions of dollars. He'll go into a country, he'll go into a region, and he'll cause disruption to where it brings a particular stock or a country's whole economy down, or the people's livelihoods down. And then when prices are low, he goes in and buys it up. He backs off the disruption, and of course things flourish again. Well, that means the prices went up again. He sells it, makes bank. That's why I call him the disruptor elite. He goes in, manipulates countries, manipulates markets on the backs of people suffering, just like he did with his own Jewish people. And then he makes the money, and then he takes that money, and then he pushes the Antichrist agenda. And if you think we're done with him, including with King Charles, both getting up there in age, I call it their backup plan. Alex Soros, George Soros' son, got him on tape saying he's going to be even worse than his dad. And same thing with King Charles. He's had a brush with, cancer. Is he going to make it? Is he not? They're priming Prince William to take over. So we're not done with these guys, even though they're getting up there in age.
Okay, now, Pastor Billy, for those who don't know Jesus, but they're listening to what you're saying, how can they know Jesus?
Well, number one, you need to respond to what's called the gospel. It's good news. The good news is that there's one way out of this mess that we're describing coming to the planet, the Antichrist kingdom. And there's only one way. His name is Jesus Christ. He said he is the way, the truth, the life. Nobody comes to the Father except through him. The Bible says that none of us are worthy to get to heaven. We've all sinned and fall short of God's glory, myself included. But God loves us, and he's wanting to give us a gift. And that gift is the gift of salvation, the gift of eternal life. And we receive that gift when we receive what his son did for us, Jesus. Jesus Christ died on the cross and took our punishment for our sins against God. And the Bible says that if we would believe that that is what God accepts as a sacrifice, a payment for your sins and my sins, that we will be free. We will be forgiven completely. And that's why the Bible says if you confess Jesus as Lord, believe in your heart that God raised him from the grave, you will be saved. So what the person needs to do is to ask Jesus Christ truly from the heart. I can't make you do it. I wish I could. But it's a hard issue. Mm-hmm. Ask Jesus to forgive you and save you. Trust that it was his death and his death alone on the cross to forgive you. And That's what the Bible says you need to do to get saved. That's it. It's a gift. You can't earn it. None of us can earn it. We've all fall short of God's glory, but receive His gift. of
Hi,
salvation.
Deprogram
Ask Jesus to
Minister.
save you
Welcome
from
to
being
the
here.
channel.
And can you give your website for people to know how to contact you and also to get your series of Global Elites and the Antichrist?
Yeah, that's getalifemedia.com, getalifemedia.com, getalifemedia.com.
Okay, and we'll also have in the description
Awesome.
how to contact you too. Okay.
And
I will say this now has been pointed out. She hasn't said Jesus the whole time.
hear this real quick. We don't copyright our media. And so if you get the DVDs, everything, including our books, everything has the gospel in it. A chance for people to pray and receive Christ their Savior, including the videos. And so we actually say on the packaging, please make copies.
It does.
Make 1 billion copies. We don't care if you get the DVDs, make 100 billion copies, give them out as fast as we can. We're just trying to get God's truth out. We're trying to get the gospel out as fast as we can. So join us in that venture.
We could do some deprogramming.
Wow, that's so wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being on the program today.
Yep. Thank you, Jane. Thanks for having me.
Is the Beast app?
Okay, always interesting, them two. Actually, I better not play that. Guys, check this out. It's pretty funny.
There's things in life you just can't believe. So you order up a prostitute, right? This prostitute lives with his mother, by the way. He's got a massive criminal history, a 21-year criminal history with 31 criminal charges. So you order up a prostitute, and that's what you think you're getting. Now, when you look at that, you go, wow, that's pretty rough, but
Man, that's pretty rough. That's pretty funny.
or in the storm.
And he brought in a storm. I'm not that type of guy, thankfully.
And then the next morning when you wake up, you find out this is who it really is. Yeah. We call that Coyote Ugly. You see, he's laying on your arm in bed.
That was funny. Sorry, guys. I thought that was funny. Okay, where are we?
All right, so my name is Sarah, and I'm the founder of Dr. Clean. And here are the absolute worst things people say about it.
And providing
I used to laugh at that. That was funny, guys.
evidence of the Cascadia subduction zone ruptures are breaking apart as we speak. So what does these two major tears mean for millions on the West Coast? And what is the current situation right now that we can look at off Vancouver Island?
The program, we have a bit of fun here as well. It's serious stuff and fun stuff.
Scientists are saying a massive earthquake is going to hit the Pacific Northwest and could wipe out the coastline. How would this happen is the bigger question, and that's what we're going to look into, as Nanaimo is right on Vancouver Island next to the stress zone, where large ruptures have opened up already, which could be even disturbed more. On the Nanaimo Trail, locals show how a large rupture from an earthquake opening years ago, but now they feel there's been a small shift that's slightly starting to happen a little bit more. And this is going to be the area that can tell us exactly how the subduction plates start to move.
Hi, friends. Let's talk about how to know that you might live on the tectonic plates. The tectonic plates are the plates of the Earth. Sometimes they separate, and you might live in a fault line, earthquake land. They call this the abyss.
I've got another one for you guys. Let's see if I can find it.
I can't actually see the bottom down there, and it gives me a little vertigo. So yeah, the world cracked.
The new slab tear off Vancouver Island redistributes stress along the Cascadia subduction zone. This could mean smaller or more localized quakes directly under Vancouver Island instead of one massive rupture releasing stress on the Cascadia subduction zone. And here's the shift that Canada, Washington, Oregon, California can see. When the subducting slab tears, hot mantle can wail upward through the gap. This can increase magma supply to the nearby volcanoes in the Cascade Range, and also in the Garibaldi Belt in British Columbia. Just so you can see that here is the Cascade Range right here, and the most significant ones we're looking at in this zone, the ones we want to be looking for in the next weeks and months. Also, British Columbia, this is where the zone that we're talking about as well. I find it very interesting that just a month ago, the government of British Columbia said, get ready for volcanic activity. Now we know why they said that. But I need you to notice the date that they said, get prepared for
Okay, the Muslims bag us for singing and dancing in church. Well, check this out, guys. We get bagged for singing and dancing in church while these guys do this. Check these. This is nuts, guys. Check this out. Look, they're all now 50 or 60 years old. There's not a 20-year-old amongst them. Oh, that's crazy. Okay, let's go back to this. What?
for volcanic activity, because right
I have.
Right next to Nanaimo, with a large rupture I just showed you, a local released a video of something she's never seen happening on the island.
My favorite dances. I think they're dancing along the Paul Begley.
So much bubbling action in the ocean.
What is it? Oil.
If the slab tear has opened pathways for heat and fluids, superheated water could be moving with gases along the ocean floor. Okay, so what everybody needs to be looking for, if you're around bubbling water like this, smell for sulfur smell, discolorated bubbles. What she's seeing could strongly suggest sub-seafloor volcanic hydrothermal activity, which is not rare, but it usually doesn't happen off the coastline areas like this. But with new fracture zones like kind of shifting, this could definitely be the case. Here's what can happen. The new stress offshore can cause shallow landslides and sediment collapse on the seafloor. Now, hopefully this is just gases being released that's trapped in the sediment. Sometimes these get mistaken as volcanic bubbling. However, if locals are saying they've never seen this before, it kind of sides with the seismic tectonic activity shift that we're seeing. And this is why you should just stop right now and just hit that subscribe button, because we're going to get all the local information to you, all the different situations that's transpiring that people are not even looking at. We are a first warning system community for survival. Now back to the local on Nanu's Bay, British Columbia, and how this affects the whole West Coast. She uploaded a second video and she noticed something else starting to happen.
Hey guys, it's been 3 or 4 days since I filmed that mysterious gurgling in the ocean in the Moose Bay Moorcraft Park. Back here again, and there's no bubbling. This is the same spot. But what I am observing is there's an interesting,
Wow, that looks so poisonous.
almost looks like oil or
I said oil when it first come on.
some kind of residue, both, I'd say on the surface, maybe going a little bit, mostly on the surface. Now, that's not unusual in the ocean. I've never personally seen it here, but you see that in a lot of marinas, that kind of stuff. Today in particular, there is a lot of bugs. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. Actually, now that I look more carefully, it's not bubbling, but there's a lot of surface bubbles.
What she just discovered takes us deeper into the scenario at hand. Hydrothermal fluids can carry mineral oils, sulfites, and iron-rich compounds that float to the surface. When they cool, they can leave sheen or greasy film. So this would support the subsea floor volcanic activity that we said earlier. It seems that this is developing near Nanoose Bay. We need further observations on this situation from people in the comments and maybe of some geothermal experts. Or
Hi, Blue-Eyed Soul. Welcome to the channel.
But the timing of this 3 days after the initial bubbling suggests that the crack opened and more fluid started to come out of it as the bubbling started to happen. So you know what this means? We just found the tectonic seep zone. And this basically in the future tells us that this is an early warning sign that the crust is fracturing deeper offshore and releasing hydrocarbons and volcanic fluids into the bay. Okay.
Yeah, Blue-Eyed, that's the first time I heard of in Cup of Tea, the Antichrist in a Cup of Tea. It's the first time I actually heard him, the Antichrist. And from what I've seen, I think they're right.
So this is the West Coast watch signs that I have listed. I'm about to give to you because all we have is each other through this. And this is why as a community, we are very much in hand, giving the warnings out. People are getting these and giving us information so that you can be relayed that information. So we're all going to be looking for new ocean bubbling in bays. Let me know also if there's just random fish die-offs close to these areas where we've mentioned all these changes are going to happen. Looking for oily sheens in the ocean areas that you've never seen before. We're not saying something that's natural, something you haven't seen before. Sudden changes in the tides or unusual currents not linked to storms, because these may mean more gases and fluids.
Now they're trying to separate Palestine. Watch the weather go crazy when they try that.
Rising to the surface because of that tear off the coast. We're also going to be looking for the quakes and stuff like that. We told you we're looking for 5 or 4. If there is increased steam plumes, or you're smelling the gas smell, you need to report that in the comments here right away. We need to get all that.
Didn't he, Shawnee?
Video as well, because everybody wants to know. Because everybody looked through the comments.
And I think about a month ago, he had a big dinner for Ramadan.
Video, and you'll have an early warning there. Then I'll come out with the video so everybody sees the larger picture.
No, go away, man.
Ground heating. So you need to start checking the temperature of your ground. And we're not just saying that you live in the hot state. We're saying check the temperature of the ground. And then springs, hot springs, if they're getting way too much heated than normal, that's going to be another warning sign that you need to report in as well. Because we only got each other. This is going to be very efficient for us to get these signs because I can get us on point with what we need to do. Sudden sinkholes, cracks, or something near British Columbia, Oregon, Washington. We're already seeing slumping on the California coast. We want those zones specifically because that's going to be something efficient to let us know what is going on for the early warning sign and get it out to everybody. And most importantly, we know that the Navy is already getting ready off Puget Sound But if we see more evacuation drills or something else building up on the West Coast, that's going to be something that I'm going to get you, that I'm going to be watching, so that we can see this is evolving into a bigger crisis behind shut doors. So none of this is about fear. It's totally about awareness, and we get all the official information, but we also dive into the eyewitness information. We're empowered together if we continue to do this. And if you didn't see it, you need to go see the West Coast survival alert I gave after the sick.
Okay. I'll move. Give us a minute, will ya?
I'll get there at lunchtime and I get home at like 10
Come on, Jesus.
After I've had a hard night at work, this is the place
Sorry.
I come to. As soon as I get home, I put all my stuff.
Their cancellation on X and other social media. We now have apparently Representative here, Tim Burchett, announces he's preparing to drag the top Netflix executives to testify over what they're doing with their programming. Absolutely amazing. This is definitely something that needed to happen. Check this out.
In favor of the Netflix leadership being asked to sort of testify over this around sexual ideology.
Every time we're on, I always say I'm going to do something that makes news. Here's what I want to do on this one, because the First Amendment and all that is involved in it, of course. Let's get on it. I'm going to follow up with my folks after we get off, and we'll call.
Obviously, got to be careful because we want to protect the First Amendment. But the fact is, there is boundaries for what you can do. You can't threaten people. You shouldn't be doing things that are immoral towards, I mean, obviously a very young, crowd or demographic. This is really ridiculous. This type of stuff should not be on Netflix, geared towards, of course, children. And that definitely needs to happen. We also have a lot of other stuff to get into. I wanted to talk a little bit about, we got this clip of Bill Burr. We'll get into that in a second here. We just got a ton of stuff. Let's just do this one on J.K. Rowling really quick here. All right, check this out. So J.K. Rowling calls out Emma Watson after the Harry Potter star addressed the rift over trans views. I wasn't able
Yeah, good on her. She give it right back to them little bratty kids. Good on her.
I lived in poverty while writing the book that made Emma famous. I therefore understand from my own life experience what trashing of women's rights, in which Emma has so enthusiastically participated, means to women. Of course, Emma essentially grew up in a rich household. Check this out.
Because truly, no one understands the plight of women in repressive third world regimes better than a multi-millionaire, privately educated theater kid Hollywood actress that's never held a normal job in her entire life. But more on that later. Pretty soon, Watson wasn't content just to make speeches in front of rooms full of elderly politicians who probably wish they were literally anywhere else. She was bringing her activism directly into the movies she starred in. The live-action Beauty and the Beast was rewritten at her request to make Belle into an inventor and engineer because...
Oh my goodness. Of course, so it reminds me of Angelina Jolie. It's sort of like this privileged person in a bubble acting like they represent America, right? Clearly you do not.
At least Angelina Jolie's done more than one body of work.
Represent America whatsoever. You have Bill Burr, who's completely changed himself, said he would never, ever stoop down to the level of going to the Middle East and making money off blood money. This is what he said back in 2011. Now look what he's done. Apparently he's changed his mind a little bit.
It was a mind-blowing experience. Definitely top 3 experiences I've ever had.
All right, so after years of Bill Burr trashing celebrities for taking blood money and railing against billionaires and ranting about wealth inequality, he decided to go to Saudi Arabia and accept money from the royal family.
Hey, Ross, good to see you, mate.
Labor, which he's being paid, not to mention, and help cover up. When he got back, he really talked about how amazing Saudi Arabia was. So you went from saying billionaires need to be put down like rabid dogs to taking money from a trillionaire family that's known for human rights violations and modern slavery and will kill.
Oh man, he should go hang out with the CEO of Apple. They would get along quite well. So of course you got that with Bill Burr, and then you have apparently the Democrat Party. And this is getting over to what our president said. Of course, we have the government shutdown currently. We had this representative here saying that Democrats have never espoused for illegals to get free health care. Check out this clip.
I haven't heard anybody in my party saying that illegal immigrants should get access to the health insurance marketplace.
I'm so glad you said that. Actually, I have some tape of your Democratic Party members saying this on the debate stage. So they've all said it. Let's play the clip.
A lot of you have been talking tonight about these government health care plans that you've proposed in one form or another. This is a show of hands question, and hold them up for a moment so people can see. Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
Senator, that's literally every member of your party, from moderate to more progressive.
That's every single person, dude, on the debate stage. All raised their hands, and everyone cheered it back then. It's 2020. Now, of course, our president said he's going to be cutting a number of Democrat agencies, and this is what prompted her to go on that interview and say that, because he thinks that a lot of them are doing nefarious things. Here you have him even taunting them with the whole thing that they accused him of. I have a meeting today with Russ Vought, he of Project 2025 fame, to determine which of the many Democrat agencies, most of which are political scam, he recommends to cut. And of course, who took the bait? Kamala Harris. Of course, she took it. This was always the plan. Project 2025. Obviously, she fell for it. It was something they made up, literally. He's just mocking them with this whole thing. In reality, what is our president really doing? Now, this is big. He is now realizing where the enemy is. It's 100% happening. He said the military's core mission is supposed to be defending the homeland, not policing the globe. He then says we are under invasion from within by uniformless domestic enemy. He is calling to use the military for this, and we're already seeing it. He labeled, we're talking Antifa, as one of these terror groups, and we saw a clip of even a sniper being positioned on one of them because they were harassing one person.
I'm still on Trump's side here. I know what we know, guys, but I've got to admit, I still like what he's doing. I still like his hardcore attitude. We know where it ends, but as it stands, I'd be very pleased with Trump if I didn't know the truth.
The fact is, let's just play this clip to see what I'm getting at.
Defending the homeland is the military's first and most important priority. That's what it is. Only in recent decades did politicians somehow come to believe that our job is to police the far reaches of Kenya and Somalia, while America is under invasion from within. We're under invasion from within. No different than a foreign enemy, but more difficult in many ways because they don't wear uniforms. At least when they're wearing a uniform, you can take them out. These people don't have uniforms.
100%. That's why he had to reclassify certain groups that are obviously not good, nefarious, doing evil things, as we saw what happened to Charlie Kirk and other people of recent, because there's been numerous of them of recent. And you can even see it now playing out in Portland and a lot of cities across America, which our president is now taking over.
Maybe you'll clean both sides up.
Now positioning our military in some of these cities as well.
ICE agents are jumping out of white vans to chase down and arrest Antifa members outside of the ICE facility. Look at this.
Hey! Give it to him, yay! Go get him, Ice.
Man, got him.
Now, of course, they call themselves
Is it my bad or am I bad for liking that?
anti-fascist. Very interesting. Of course, they tend to be very Marxist. And of course, we've seen what's happened in other countries when you have a lot of Marxists and then they, of course, take over. So we don't want that happening here in America. They've all, obviously, initially they've started it with soft multiculturalism and all these things through our movies and TV, as you see in the case of Netflix, which now you got the rainbow, which is essentially sort of a cultural Marxist sort of concept. And so they started the
Yeah, Shawnee, I played that one. You're right, I did play that.
that route. And now they're trying to bring it into a more hardline route. And this is why it needs to be dealt with from the inside. And also, who is funding this? We're talking these guys at the top. They're all thinking about the globe, not our country, obviously. And this also is why I think we're going to be seeing some major things happening over the next few months, particularly with Kid Clement's prophecy, which I believe is happening right now. Many will fall in the fall. I even had a dream last night. And I asked God, what does it mean? I was in this house. It was a very tall roof. And there was a stairway that came down.
No deprogram, but you can let us know. I'll look him up. I've got to give you a wrench for that.
To the basement. And one of the
come on, dog.
There's like a bunch of
just
sort of
me
like
5 minutes ago.
what do you call it? Wood structure that was holding up the roof, right? Various beams. And there's like tons of them. There's like about, I would say, at least 100 of them. And they're like just all over the place holding up the roof.
Deprogram. Check out that Aussie code. I promise you'll love it.
So it's kind of like a weird makeshift building. And one of them at the top fell off, and it just caused a cascading effect, and just all of them fell and came down the stairways. There was like 50 different like beams just in the stairway. And it was like God was telling me that once one of these guys at the top falls, all the other ones are going to. And it's like, because they're going to rat each other out, and everyone's going to try to save themselves. So I think that's what we're going to be seeing happening shortly here. We have here Joe Rogan.
Deprogram. Have you got a channel? Or are you on Facebook or anything?
Talking about what happened to Charlie Kirk. This has gone viral. Check this out.
The bowel cancer screening test. For your family, get to it.
It takes 90 seconds for this NASA-engineered AC cool down your room. It's smaller than a toaster, cools any room in 90 seconds, and uses just a fraction of the energy of a regular AC. This incredible invention was built by two engineers, Thomas Berger and Leo Garcia, who used to work on thermal control systems for NASA's space mission.
And have arguments with people, or have discussions with people, have debates with people. The fact that people are cheering when he died, normal people, housewives, moms, like people working at banks, people working at various industries, celebrating a man getting shot in front of his kids, in the front of the whole world.
That's
like,
evil.
What is wrong with us?
Yeah, that's evil.
It's messed up, man. And 100% agree with him. What has happened to our country? And this is because of this programming we've seen through various TV shows.
And they're actually unemploying people who made comments about him on the net. That's why I'm not going to tackle this subject, because people are getting banned because of it.
Netflix now, people are reacting, they're canceling their
dog, you just
subscription
up
to
here
Netflix
3 minutes
because
ago.
of this type of programming being
Come
run
on.
amok there. Here you have a Navy SEAL on Pierce Morgan telling you how the whole Charlie Kirk death does not add up. And actually, from what he's saying here, it sounds like he's actually saying the same opinion I got. One that I espoused about 2 days ago, which I changed my mind. I initially had a first opinion for about 2 weeks, which was essentially the guy off to the right did it from a building. Then I changed my mind. I realized that actually that guy was just a fake shot. This guy in front, there was no shot. This guy was the fake shot. And I think it was actually his mic that did it. check out what this Navy SEAL has to say.
And then when I was sent the video with this at the same message where they said Charlie Kirk was just shot. When I watched that horrific video, he was obviously dead before he hit the ground. But the questions immediately started to come to me. That was not an entry wound that we saw. We saw an exit wound. So where'd that bullet come from? You don't bleed like. And I've shot guys closer than the camera was. And an entry wound doesn't look like that. An exit wound does. Why did his shirt move?
Wow, he just says that so not wow. I've killed people like closer than a camera. Wow, what a hard man.
The way it did. When I shot people, their shirts didn't move like that. And then the initial reaction was, well, he was obviously wearing body armor and it was deflection. One, no. He wasn't wearing body armor. And two, it doesn't deflect like that off of body armor. Why was his shirt moving from right to left? Why were people being interviewed saying, yeah, they came from my left to right?
He's indicating right to left because that's where the mic was. The mic was over here. And from what I'm gathering, it went in right here. It came out right here. And that's why you couldn't see it, is because it was on underneath the shirt. I don't know why I can't talk. So that's what I think really happened.
From his right to left, immediately shut down. And then did they shut the crime scene down immediately? They just right off the bat, from seeing it, knowing he was dead, saying a lot of this is bad. Not even getting into the soliloquy of text messages that 22-year-olds don't send their trans lover.
So I'm guessing he's watching Candace Owens as well. He's probably watching everything because there's a lot of different military channels covering this. He's a Navy SEAL himself. There's actually, I covered a Marine sniper before, a Navy SEAL. There's a lot of, my first opinion was the same as the Marine sniper guy, what he said. But, you know, it seems like there was no entry, or at least one we couldn't see. So I'm guessing it was underneath the shirt is where the entry was. And I think that's what he came to the same conclusion. This is from yesterday. And it is interesting with regards to that movie with Snake Eyes. Apparently there's even
I subbed the program. I subbed your channel.
More. I didn't realize that was connected. Apparently there's something with regards to an arms deal in the Middle East as part of the movie as well. Very interesting. And there's other aspects as well. The fact that Charlie Kirk was born on the same day as another famous person.
Charlie Kirk, born October 14th.
Wow.
George Floyd.
Both born on the same day.
Wow.
Both are emblems of injustice, although I'd say the first guy there, George, I don't know if it's as much of one as in the case of Charlie Kirk. I think that was a little bit more manufactured. I think in the case of Charlie Kirk, this one's very much in a serious injustice. George Floyd is a little bit debatable, you know what I mean? Depends on how you want to look at it. I think obviously the reaction to it is completely different as well. Mostly peaceful, not really. You know, in the case of George Floyd, in the case of Charlie Kirk, very peaceful. How a lot of people have reacted to it that are on the side of him. Those not on his side, obviously not. But you got that. Then you have Erica Kirk. A lot of people keep talking about Erica Kirk. I keep seeing videos saying something's not right with this lady. And I wanted to play this clip here. And then I wanted to get into some other clips. Check this out.
I'm sorry, but this is weird. I'm just not buying it. I know we're told that she's a grieving widow, and I typically wouldn't comment on this kind of thing. People grieve in their own ways and all of that. But this just is not normal. I mean, can we be honest about this? We're not supposed to talk about it, right?
So what I think is going on here, because I've looked at two different body language guys. This guy is another one, Dr. G here. He's a body language specialist as well. Both body language specialists said that this is not her acting, that she's being genuine. And I think what's going on here is, I'll explain it to you. Let me just play this clip and then I'll explain what I think is going on.
Really does seem to be tied into how she's feeling.
First, and his dreams alive and his legacy going. And what's so beautiful is to see all of you step in and do that. And so part of the reason why I agreed to come on, because this is not going to be a forever thing of me being on hosting the show, was because I gave assurance to people that Turning Point USA is continuing, and it is. I mean, we are so.
Now, I've had a number of people ask about why she has a tendency to look up. Watch, this is what I'm talking about right here.
Turning Point USA.
The program, it's a pleasure to meet you. See if you come back.
Is continuing.
Now, looking up like this does not appear to be involuntary. In other words, this seems to be something that she's actually doing. Many of the behaviors we do are automatic. When we look around, we're thinking, or if we look down, we tend to not realize we're doing that. As she's doing this, this very much looks intentional. And so I assume that when she's doing that, this is her way of signaling she's connecting with Charlie. That's certainly what it appears to be at this point. So, like I said, this is not so much an involuntary behavior.
Assurance to people that Turning Point USA is continuing, and it is. I mean, we are.
See, so when she says Turning Point USA is continuing, she raises her eyebrows, looks up. I do think that is her intent to talk to or connect with Charlie. At least that would be the way that it seems to me.
So now here's the thing, like if I back up, I watched a lot of this video. So she seems very serious, and then the only time she starts smiling, and you saw her smile there when she mentioned TP USA, because that was something Charlie Kirk very much was heavily involved in. But the only time she would ever smile, particularly in the beginning, was when she started talking about her husband, which means like she's sort of connecting, like what she's doing, what's going on is something he would want. So she's happy because she's continuing his legacy, and her smiling because she knows that he would be happy about it is kind of what he's trying to get at
after mentioning that. But then something interesting happens following this.
And in a way that always keeps Charlie first and his dreams.
Now you see this smile right here. This is what we call the Dushin smile. This is very much a real smile. The way that the eyes wrinkle, the way that the corners of the mouth go up, that all matches what would be a legitimate smile. So when people are saying, is she acting? Not right here, she isn't. That seems to be actual. She actually feels good right there.
A way that always keeps Charlie first and his dreams.
So look, every time she says Charlie's name, she starts smiling. So she's thinking about him. Now, why a lot of people would just assume she would be nonstop crying. She's a very religious woman. And when I say that, what I mean by that, a very Christian, spiritual woman, because some people don't like the word religious, whatever. Spiritual woman. And when you're very spiritual, you know there's an afterlife. It's not like maybe there's an afterlife. It's like, 100% there is an afterlife. 100% Charlie Kirk's in that afterlife. I will see him later.
100%.
Do you see what I mean? So if she's already accepted that in her mind, this is 2 weeks after he died here, by the way. This is 2 weeks later. This is not the day after he died. This is 2 weeks later. So she's already accepted that he's dead. He's in heaven. She will see him again. He's looking down. That's why she looks up at him. And I'm continuing on his legacy. So in her mind, he's still there. He's maybe even watching her, and she's happy about it. Now, a lot of people, when their loved ones die, they're like, is there a heaven? I don't know. I'm sad. I'm crying. I'm upset because maybe there isn't a heaven. You see what I mean? She's not wrestling with that. So I think the difference between her and maybe, I don't know, the average Joe is that some average Joes will just be like, I don't even know if there's a heaven. I'm going to keep grieving because maybe I'll never see him again. And so that's another aspect to this, because I feel like a lot of people are like, well, she can't smile even 2 weeks later. Apparently she can't smile even 2 weeks later. I just feel like that's kind of, I don't know. For me, it just seems a little bit like, if she's smiling when he says her name, when she says his name, it's because she actually literally thinks he's watching her and he's alive. You see what I'm getting at? So that's the difference. A lot of people when they're grieving, they're like, I'm never going to see him again. There's a big difference between the two.
Alive in his legacy.
And then afterwards, she says, keeps his dreams alive. When she raised her eyebrows, she wants you to understand she is planning on keeping his dreams alive. That's something she's actually feeling as she's talking.
So you get kind of the idea of what I'm getting at. Now, so there's that. Because I feel like, it is different how she's acting than maybe some others. But again, she's also not, I would say, because a lot of people are like trying to come up with some sort of theory, like, oh, she's really fake. But all these body language experts say that's actually genuine smiles. So I just, you know what I mean? I feel like it's kind of like one of those theories that doesn't really have a lot of basis. But that's my opinion. At any rate, we have also Roseanne Barr. I just think this is amazing. Roseanne Barr, who used to be on the show Roseanne, used to be a total liberal. And look who she's talking about God all the time and stuff like that. She has on here Jonathan Cahn, which I'm not the hugest fan of Jonathan Cahn, but he's got some good stuff. He's got some really good stuff. Check this out.
Just 24 hours before the assassination, I was led to post something, on YouTube where I'm talking about demonic shootings and demonic assassinations.
Is this before?
This is 24 hours before it happened.
Boy.
I'm led to put that up. And the thing is, number one, this was demonic because and this is very much what the Avatar is. The Avatar.
No, wait.
Yeah.
Taking it back a little, because we were talking about the witchcraft thing, the Jezebel thing.
Yes.
That, obviously, Hillary and Kamala, all that stuff.
Dude, that totally fits with that movie too, by the way. So you remember that they're talking about Jezebel. The magazine Jezebel wrote an article about some witches cursing Charlie Kirk. You remember that? And it came out 2 days before he died, right? This movie, Snake Eyes, also, and I have the clip here. Where is it at? I got so many windows open like usual. Yeah, here it is. So in this movie, Snake Eyes, there is a woman who is sort of the Jezebel in the movie. She wears a red dress. Okay? And she's kind of like, she represents that. Here she is. She's got red hair too. This lady. In the movie Snake Eyes. And I wanted to play a clip. Check this out. This guy kind of encapsulates the whole thing.
TV. And that's the end of the movie. Okay, so a politician, a defense secretary named Charles Kirkland, gets shot in the neck and is assassinated during a live boxing fight on September 10th. This happened because a boxer named Lincoln Tyler took the fall on purpose by taking directions from an agent from some type of intelligence agency. Tyler is the suspect in Kirk's real-life case. Lincoln, obviously, is a president who was assassinated. Not only that, but Tyler later beats up Rick in an attempt to protect these elites. In Freemasonry, Tyler is someone who guards the door of the lodge with a drawn sword.
So it's obvious that there's some weird thing going on with this movie. Some people just said they just sort of fulfilled it by making everything fit the movie. But again, how did they know the name Charles Kirkland? That's the one thing that you couldn't really predict. And he was only 5 years old when that movie was made. There's no way they would have known he would have grew up and been the person he was. So I actually think it might have something to do with this project, of course, Looking Glass, where the GOV had technology where they could see the future, and they couldn't go to the future, but they could see it. They could change things in the modern current day to try to modify the future. And this was something to where they realized after 2012, they could no longer modify it the way they wanted to, and they couldn't get their own intention or plan forward. And it was after 2012, and that's why they started losing after 2012. Our president got elected, of course, in 2016, and also recently. This was something that they could not control. This is kind of my theory. I'm not saying it's true, but it could also explain how they knew there would be someone named Charlie Kirk who would die later, and then have all these weird connections to it. Of course, they could also obviously after the fact make sure it fitted, but you know what I'm saying. So I just think that it has to do with the name itself. At any rate, that's my video. I kind of want to see what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.
All right, don't try this at home. Hope I don't regret this. Okay, not gonna lie, that got a little crazy. But seriously, if you've ever burnt a pan before, you're gonna want to see this. You can either scrub it to death until your arm falls off, or you can do this.
Oh, where is it? Hang on, didn't line up. Hang on, guys.
Second crack has been found
tearing apart off the Pacific Northwest. And they're trying to say it's not bad news. Louisiana State University researchers found out the Cascadia subduction zone, where the 1D Fuca plate is slowly breaking apart. This area is off the coast of Vancouver Island, right?
Okay, guys, I'll finish with this, and that's it for the day.
I Discovered Church family is Pastor Steve here in Hierapolis, mentioned in the book of Colossians. And appropriately so, we're going to release an important prophetic warning with a date. I've actually been sitting on this for quite a while mainly because of Charlie Kirk's assassination. I just wanted to pay respect to that, not bring up any other news, and also pay my tribute. And you've all seen that video already. So that's an important video to go back and watch if you haven't seen it. But we're going to give you a prophetic update. Let me take you back to the dream that the Lord gave me concerning seeing Donald Trump, walking with him. He asked me to take my shoes off. And then at the end of the dream, he did say that was going to be his last interview. And then at the end of the dream, I saw 3 Thai people. Okay, so there's a lot there. But out of that dream, our online church member, another prophetic person, said that she had a dream about me, and she saw me walking on water, and that my shoes, remember I had to take shoes off, but in this dream, it's like the follow-up, I had to put shoes on. And the shoes that I put on, they were like arcs, or like boats. But they're like boats that come up. So then I went to the Netherlands, and you get updates from there as well. And there we pieced together that there are 2 countries in the world where they wear shoes that look like boats. One is the Netherlands, and one is right here, Turkey. And both countries, by the way, sold tulips. The tulips came from Turkey, and they were sold in the Netherlands. So then we went on to England, and in England, we had another prophetic person, another online church member, tell me her dream. And this is the part that I want to get to. She said, I was given a very specific date on which to flee. Now, I'm not British. I said, what are you? She said, I'm Polish. So she's Polish, living in London. And she said, I was given a dream to flee the cities. I said, well, that's exactly matching many dreams in Discover Ministries. We all have that dream. So she said, yes. And I was supposed to run. I said, describe to me where you're running. And she said, it was not like Britain. It was very barren, no trees, and it was cold. So it's the winter. I said, that's an important detail. And she runs out, and she doesn't really know where she goes to, but she felt very safe, very peaceful. I said, that's great. That means that, you're supposed to go to a Goshen. And then she said, in the dream, it felt like she was given military intel about 1026. I said, that's a clue right there. Is anybody in your family in the military? And she said, yes. My brother is in the military. And in fact, in the dream, I was told to reconcile with my brother. There was something that happened. She actually called him, was very nervous, and he was so pleased to hear from her. But it's not that brother. There's yet another brother who is a pilot in the Polish Royal Air Force. I said, well, that's it. That's piecing it all together. So there's going to be an attack on 1026. Now, 1026 can have international standard or American standard. Which one is it? So she assumed it's 26th of October, which would put it in winter. It'd be this 26th of October, an attack that probably relates to Poland and somehow might relate to Turkey, because here we are. Things are prophetic. But I said there's another way to read 1026. All right. There are many ways to read 1026, but the international standard is to go from small to big. So it could be October of 2026, which would still put it in the time of the red horse, an imminent attack, a big attack. Then you're given a full year to prepare and go find a Goshen. And ours is, we have a Goshen, a place that's away from the cities and yet have all the convenience that we would need to be able to survive and continue to serve on the mission field. Our Goshen, you can look it up. We have plots for people that want to have a Goshen at goshenlake.org. So you're supposed to go to a Goshen and you get a year to prepare. So is it the 26th of October, 2025, or is it October 2026? Both of them would fulfill it. And so she was very happy with the dream. And I asked her permission, may I share this with the YouTube world? And she said, of course. So there you go. One of the benefits and the blessings of being a partner, being joined together in the body of Christ, God is always sharing something, but nobody has all the pieces. We all have to depend on each other, rely on each other, and submit to each other and be honoring of each other's gifts. And then the pieces of the puzzle join together. So I hope you got something good from that. I'm going to keep elaborating. I'll share more about Turkey as the days come along here. So no matter what's going on, I keep telling you, don't get despondent, don't get discouraged, get connected to other strong believers, and always keep looking up. For many years, I've
Okay, guys, I'm out. See you tomorrow.
been advising people to prepare by having at least a month's worth of food and water. And I've tried several long life food products, and I've chosen one that I think is the most organic that I can find for myself and my family, and it's called New